There, Joan Kosmichuk, your seasonal color, style, and confidence coach. And I wanted to share a little bit of inspiration with you this morning. This is a project that I undertook this weekend, and it is kind of a response to some of the frustration I sometimes feel when I know what I want in my head for my seasonal color and style, but I can't always find it in store. And if that's been your experience too, I hope this story will maybe give you some inspiration and get you just thinking a little bit outside the box. So it all started with this inspiration shirt that I spotted in the Gorsuch Spring New Arrivals. It's a linen shirt, has this fabulous floral motif on it, and it is in my casual neutral, my hair-related color, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, I was smitten. But I had a couple of, thoughts. It's like always something like this I would like to try on in store because I want to know that the scale of the appliques works well with the scale of my features. I also want to make sure that those appliques don't sit in a place where it would be unflattering or draw attention to something that I don't want to draw attention to. And then also, there was a lot of applique and I just wasn't sure if it would be too much for me. So those were some of the things that were running through my mind. But I still really loved it. And then, of course, I looked at the price tag and it was over $500. And so right away, this picture went into my inspiration file on Pinterest because I thought, yep, I'll save that and see, maybe circle back around at the end of the season and see if it comes down on a really good sale. And if I still love it, by then I could make a more considered purchase of it at that time. But I could not get this shirt, the idea of it, out of my mind. And then I was in my closet and I found my Gap linen t-shirt that is also in my hair-related color and that I picked up at a sale for $10. So I was looking at that shirt and thinking about the inspiration shirt and wondering if there was a way that I could make my own version of the inspiration shirt using my Gap shirt. Now, there is a very big difference you can see between these two right away, just in terms of the base of the shirt, and that is that my Gap shirt had a pocket. So the first thing I had to do was get out my seam ripper and very gently pick out all of the stitches that were holding the pocket to the shirt. And if you are a bit nervous, saying, well, Joan, I'm a little worried for you because when you do that, you're going to have all these holes where the pocket was, you're absolutely right. You could see the whole outline of the pocket in the shirt, little holes where the stitches had been. But the wonderful thing about linen is it's a somewhat forgiving fabric, and so I applied the steam iron to it, and it just closed up those holes sufficiently enough that my husband could not even tell which side I had removed the pocket from. So had success, and now I had the same base as the inspiration shirt, which was a plain linen shirt with no pockets on either side. Next up, of course, as you can see, I have to tackle the issue of these appliques. And you say, Joan, where are you going to find appliques like that? Well, if you're very clever, you could actually make those appliques out of some scrap fabric. And I did consider that option, but that just felt like a lot of work and I'm a little bit impatient at times. So instead, I went on Etsy and I put in floral applique and was surprised at how many options came up. But the option that really appealed to me was found at a bridal fabric store, and it was these sheer floral appliques. And they were just very exciting to me for many reasons. One, they came in an ivory or off-white, which is what I needed. Number two, they came in multiple sizes, so I was able to take the sizing and figure out what two sizes would be the right scale for me. Then also they had this lovely little pearlized beading and little sequins on it, which I knew were going to, be lovely to catch the light. So just so excited about these, ordered them, and they came last week. And then I took my now pocketless Gap shirt, my appliques, and the concept of this inspirational shirt, and I created my own version, which I absolutely love. So here is my final result. I am really pretty happy with it. And I'll give you a few tips and tricks that I learned as I went through the process. Number one, laying out the appliques, when you have the shirt flat is a good idea. I put actually like a piece of Bristol board, wrapped my shirt around it, buttoned it up to lay out my appliques. I didn't want them to be uniform exactly, but I did want them to be somewhat symmetrical. So it was helpful to be able to lay them out flat and kind of move them around. And then I actually pinned them from underneath and tried the shirt on, because if you've ever tried on a shirt with appliques in a store before and found that, oh gosh, it all looks great except for this one applique that's maybe in a target zone where you wouldn't want to draw the eye, that it's best to get that shirt on and to, then make a few adjustments to make sure everything is sitting in a flattering, position. So I did that next. And I also did try to pin some appliques to the sleeve like the inspirational picture showed. And as I had feared, that just got to be a little bit too busy for me. And I found they did not add. I felt really much happier when I just had appliques on the top 2/3 of the front of the shirt. So that was something that I discovered through the pinning process. And so it's a good idea to do that step first to make sure you're really happy with the look and you feel like it really flatters you. It also will tell you if the applique itself is the right option for your particular look, and that it gives you the feel that you want when you're wearing the shirt. I added a couple of things that the inspiration picture did not have. So one thing I added was putting the applique onto each of my collars. I felt like that just softened the point of the collar, which was something I really, really loved. And then because I had this one large applique left over, I put it on the back so that you would just have that little surprise when I turned around. And I love this particular applique because you can probably see as I move in the light that it has some sparkly, they're clear kind of pearlized sequins, and then the beads themselves are pearlized. And so in the light, it just kind of catches that and adds just that little bit of buoyancy to it. And again, that was a delightful surprise and not something that probably would have been part of the original inspiration. So why am I sharing this project with you? Well, the main reason is that I want to inspire you to think about gathering your own inspiration pictures, and to also ask yourself, is there a way that you could take something you already have and transform it into something that really inspires you in terms of a shirt or a jacket or a dress or a skirt? And I know some of you are saying, oh, well, that's great for you, Joan, because you know how to sew. I don't know how to sew. And I want to tell you 3 things I learned through this process that might help you. Number one is I did machine stitch these on. I was very proud of that because that was one thing we learned in my beginner sewing class, was how to sew on an applique, right? So to teach you how to do curves and things. So I had the benefit of knowing how to do that one particular sewing skill fairly well. And so it was fun to practice and get these appliques stitched on via the machine. But I realized they're so lightweight and they're already all finished on the edges that I could have just as easily hand stitched them on with a needle and thread, and it wouldn't have been any more difficult than really sewing on a button. So if you have any hand sewing skills at all, you could certainly do this even if you don't own a machine or have machine sewing skills. And another option that you can always consider is probably with these being as delicate as they are, it might be more difficult, but with a regular applique, there is applique spray-on that you can get. You just spray the back of the applique and then you iron it onto the shirt. And it is, if it's ironed on well and you've got spray on all the edges and the corners, it will hold pretty well as well. So that is another option for those of you who do not like to pick up needle and thread. And then the last one I would suggest, and I think in this case it would have still been well worth it for me, is if I had not been able to put these on by machine myself, I could have taken them to my local seamstress. I could have pinned them on, got everything laid out in place, and then taken it to her and asked her just to sew them on for me. That might have cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 or $30, but since I started out with a $10 shirt, it's $15 on the appliques. Even if I had ended up at a $50 price tag on this shirt, it still would have been a tenth of what the inspirational shirt would have cost me. So it would have been well worth it. And I think that if you think about cost of wear, how many times do you think or anticipate that you would wear this item, particularly when you've personalized it to be something that you love? You know that you're going to get a really really low level of cost of wear, because if you wear a $50 shirt 100 times, that's 50 cents per wear. And if it's a shirt that you love, you know you'll probably keep it for a long time to come. So I wanted to share this today with you just to inspire you not to go out and transform a shirt like Jones, but to go through your own inspirational files, go through your wardrobe, see is there some way that you can turn a piece that you love, whether that's a jacket or a blouse, a shirt, a t-shirt, jeans, shoes, anything that you absolutely adore. Is there something you have in your closet that with a little bit of creativity, you could transform to be almost like that inspiration piece, but more importantly, that you could create something that would be visually harmonious with you, because the more visual harmony we have between ourselves and our clothing, the more beautifully we are seen in the world. And that's our goal for you, to be seen as the beautiful and amazing person that you are. Thanks for watching and have a very colorful week.